And at the tip, as I told you, and at this particular tip the velocity is 0, and this point is known as the stagnation point. At the tip of the nozzle the velocity is 0 and this point is known as the stagnation point. Okay, and the piezometer which is kept here will measure the static pressure head. The pitot tube kept here will measure the stagnation pressure at this particular point. Okay, now how can we calculate the pressure? I will tell you. So applying Bernoulli's equation between these 2 points 1 and 2, applying Bernoulli's equation, between point 1 which is static and point 2 which is a stagnation point. Okay, so Bernoulli's equation says P1 by gamma plus V1 square by 2g plus Z1 will be equal to, at this point, P2 by gamma plus V2 square by 2g plus Z2. Okay, now since Z is same as I told you, so this will be cancelled out. First thing. Second thing, the at the tip of this nozzle, as I told you, the velocity is 0. That means this V2 will be 0, and finally we will get what? So this will be V1 will be equal to under root of 2g. V1 will be, this will be V1 square by 2g is equal to P2 by gamma minus P1 by gamma. So this will be V1 is equal to 2g P2 minus P1 by gamma. Okay, this is nothing but the velocity V1. Okay, that means the velocity with which the fluid is flowing at this particular point, this velocity V1. Okay, or you can further say this V1 is equal to under root of 2g P2 by gamma minus P1 by gamma. P2 by gamma is H stagnation minus H static. Okay, very simple thing, because at this particular point this is equal to P2 by gamma is equal to P1 by gamma plus V1 square by 2g. Okay, so this P2 by gamma is equal to P1 by gamma plus V1 square by 2g. Getting this or not? Okay, and this particular height is P1 by gamma. This is P1 by gamma plus V1 square by 2g. So if I subtract this, I will get what? So this particular height is nothing but V1 square by 2g. Okay, and this is nothing but h. So this h will be equal to V1 square by 2g. Okay, or V1 is equal to under root of 2gh, where h is the difference of stagnation height and static height. Stagnation height and static height. Getting this? So this is the simple principle of pitot tube, with the help of which we can measure the velocity. Okay, now here we are not considering any loss. So if we consider loss, we will have to introduce one factor CV, one coefficient CV. Okay, so to take the errors into account, errors because of the loss of energy, you can say. So to take the errors into account, V1 is equal to, a factor is introduced, CV under root of 2g H stagnation minus H static. Okay, where CV is pitot tube coefficient, or you can say coefficient of velocity. Okay, or you can say this V1 is equal to CV under root of 2gh. Okay, H, as I told you, is H stagnation minus H static, or you can say P2 by gamma minus P1 by gamma. Okay, so this is the simple principle of pitot tube. Now we will draw one more form of pitot tube. Now this is another form of pitot tube, as you can see, and this is more or less resembles like a U-tube manometer, differential U-tube manometer, if you remember. Okay, the only difference is that here you are having the nozzle where the velocity is getting 0, velocity is getting destroyed. Okay, so this is a pitot tube. Okay, so how can we determine the velocity with the help of this? So here the pressure here, we will equate the pressure at this particular level. Okay, so here the pressure will be P1 plus rho gy, the density of this fluid, the fluid which is flowing is rho, height here is y, so this is rho gy, plus up to this level, up to level x, the density is rho m plus rho m gx. Okay, this is equal to, at this particular level, the total pressure is P2 plus rho g x plus y. Okay, we have already seen differential manometer. Getting this, at this particular level we have equated the pressure. Okay, now further this can be written as P1 by gamma plus, just dividing this by rho g, we will get what? P1 by gamma plus rho m by rho into x is equal to this rho gy, and rho gy will get cancelled out, and we'll get what? This will be P2 by gamma plus x. Getting this? Further, this can be written as what? P2 by gamma minus P1 by gamma is equal to x into rho m by rho minus 1. Okay, now further this P2 by gamma minus P1 by gamma, because there is a piezometer, P2 by gamma minus P1 by gamma is nothing but V1 square by 2g. Okay, so this can be further written as V1 square by 2g. Okay, so from here this you will get what? V is equal to under root of 2gx rho m by rho minus 1. Okay, or you can say this V is equal to Cv under root of 2gx rho m by rho minus 1, where rho m is the density of the manometric fluid and rho is the density of the flowing fluid. Getting this? So this is how you can determine the velocity. Okay, next is the very important application of Bernoulli's principle, that is venturimeter. Okay, very important device, and this venturimeter is used to determine the flow rate. You can determine discharge or volume flow rate. Okay, so with the help of this venturimeter you can determine the flow rate of the particular flow. Okay, now the beauty of this venturimeter is that it can be used in any orientation. That means it can be used in horizontal direction, vertical direction or inclined direction. Whether our flow is in horizontal direction or vertical direction or inclined direction, it can be measured with the help of this venturimeter. First thing. Okay, and second thing, the efficiency of this venturimeter is very high. This is a very precise instrument. The accuracy is very high. Third important thing in this venturimeter is that you can see the arrangement here. So we have put a U2 manometer here, and this here the throat is the area of the throat is less, and that is to have the more velocity here. ओके, बिकॉज एरिया यहाँ पर कम हो रहा है तो वेलोसिटी यहाँ पर ज़्यादा होगी. देन उसके बाद फिर हम इसको फर्दर दिस इज डिस्चार्ज्ड. ओके, सो द कोन इज कन्वर्जिंग हियर, सो इन ऑर्डर टू हैव द लेस एरिया सो डैट द वेलोसिटी इज मोर. और फिर यहाँ पर यही कोन डाइवर्ज हो रही है, देन द वेलोसिटी विल अगेन डिक्रीज एट दिस पर्टिकुलर सेक्शन. ओके, वन थिंग यू कैन नोट हियर, दिस LD लेंथ ऑफ दिस डिस्चार्जिंग कोन is more than that of this LC. Okay, the converging length is less and diverging length is more. Or you can say the angle, this angle, the cone angle at diverging side is less. This is around 5 to 8 degree. Okay, और वही converging जो cone angle रहेगा that is around 15 to 20 degree. Okay, now what is the reason behind this? Just understand this thing very carefully. Okay, the diverging length is less, cone angle is less, the converging length is diverging length is more, cone angle is less, converging length is less, cone angle is more. Okay, so हो क्या रहा है यहाँ पर, initially we are converging this, so velocity is increasing at this particular section. Velocity increase होगी, pressure decrease होगा. Okay, and there's a difference in pressure, and because of that this manometric liquid will rise here, because the pressure here is less, so यहाँ पर manometric liquid है वो rise करेगी. First thing. Okay, then after that this cone is further diverged up to length LD. Okay, and what is happening here is, क्योंकि अब वो ये cone diverge हो रही है, the velocity will decrease but the pressure here will increase. Okay, so just understand this thing, that the pressure at point P1 is greater than that of point P2. The pressure at point 1 is greater than that of point 2. But the pressure at point 3, if I take point 3 here, the pressure at point 3 is greater than pressure at point 2. Okay, because again यहाँ velocity कम हुई, pressure बढ़ेगा. तो pressure at point 3 is again, तो इस particular diverging section में pressure जो है वो increase हो रहा है. And what will happen, because the एक convection जो flow का रहता है that is from high pressure to low pressure. Okay, so यहाँ तो conventionally flow हो रहा है because the pressure here is decreasing, so high pressure to low pressure easily ये flow हो सकता है. The pressure is decreasing in the direction of flow, so that decrease in pressure will further help in that flow. But what is happening here is the flow is in this direction, but the pressure in this direction is increasing. Okay, but the natural tendency of flow is to have is from high pressure to low pressure. Okay, so होगा क्या, because यहाँ पर जो fluid elements है, इस particular walls में जो fluid elements चिपके हैं, the velocity there is very less. ओके जो फ्लूइड एलिमेंट सेंटर से पास हो रहे हैं दैट इज हैविंग कंसिडरेबल काइनेटिक एनर्जी, तो वो पूरा पास हो जाएंगे। ओके बट जो फ्लूइड एलिमेंट जो वॉल्स में लगे हुए हैं द वेलोसिटी देयर इज वेरी लेस, because of that the flow tendency will be in opposite direction, because it will naturally it will flow from high pressure to low pressure. So at these 2 points, since a pressure at this point is higher than as compared to this point, so the flow will be opposite in this near this wall of this pipe. Getting this or not? Because the flow in the center of this pipe will be dominated by the kinetic energy. Here kinetic energy of this flow is more, so obviously it will be in this direction only. But जो walls है जहाँ पर velocity almost zero हो गई है, there the flow will tend to be in opposite direction, and because of that there will be the formation of eddies. Okay, natural flowing is in this direction, but the flow tendency at this walls is in opposite direction. So because of that the eddies will developed here. Eddies होगी, there will be a flow separation. Okay, so for that reason this angle is less, this length, ताकि वो एक लंबे पोर्शन में उसका प्रेशर जो है वो सडनली इंक्रीज ना होके ग्रेजुअली इंक्रीज हो, धीरे धीरे करके उसका प्रेशर इंक्रीज होगा। तो जब धीरे धीरे इंक्रीज होगा देन द टेंडेंसी ऑफ दिस फ्लो सेपरेशन और टेंडेंसी ऑफ दिस एडीज विल बी क्वाइट लेस। ओके, सो दिस इज द रीजन वाई दिस एल डी इज ग्रेटर देन डेट ऑफ दिस एल सी। Getting this not? Okay, so the principle, as I told you, principle हम क्या कर रहे हैं, we are creating the pressure difference between these 2 points, and with the help of which we will try to measure the discharge. How? We will apply the Bernoulli's principle. Between 1 and 2. Okay, now at this particular point total head P1 by gamma plus V1 square by 2g plus Z1, this will be equal to P2 by gamma plus V2 square by 2g plus Z2. Okay, now further you can write it as P1 by gamma plus Z1, okay, minus P2 by gamma plus Z2, this will be equal to V2 square by 2g minus V1 square by 2g. Okay, now what is this V2 square by 2g minus V1 square by 2g? This is nothing but P1 by gamma plus Z1 minus P2 by gamma plus Z2, and this is nothing but H1 minus S2. This is piezometric head, so this will be H1 minus S2, or you can write it as H, which is Venturi head. Okay, this is H1 minus S2 or H, which is nothing but Venturi head. Okay, now further the discharge Q, theoretical discharge, this Q will be equal to A1 into V1, as we know, area, cross section area into the velocity. Okay, or you can write it as this is also equal to A2 into V2. Discharge is same at these 2 points. Okay, so this will be A1 V1, which is also equal to A2 V2. Now further this can be written as V1 is equal to A1 Q by A1, and V2 will be equal to Q by A2. Okay, now just put the value here in this particular equation, just put the value of V1 and V2 here. So we will get what H will be equal to V2 is Q by A2, V1 is Q by A1. Okay, so this will be Q theoretical square by 2g, and inside we will get what 1 by A2 square minus 1 by A1 square. Getting this or not? Okay, further this can be solved, and this Q theoretical from here, this will be equal to A1 A2 under root of 2gh upon under root of A1 square minus A2 square. Okay, so this is an expression for theoretical discharge. Getting this or not? Okay, now further this there is a discharge coefficient CD is equal to Q actual divided by Q theoretical. Okay, the difference between, there will be a difference between actual discharge and theoretical discharge because of certain losses. So the discharge coefficient CD is equal to Q actual by Q theoretical. Okay, so from here this Q actual we can determine, this will be equal to CD into Q theoretical. So CD into A1 A2 root 2gh divided by under root of A1 square minus A2 square. That's it. So this is how we can determine the discharge with the help of venturimeter. Getting this? And this CD, the value of this CD for venturimeter is 0.98. This is highest for venturimeter. As I told you, this is a very precise instrument. Getting this? There are certain other instruments like orifice meter, like rotameter, but the value of this coefficient of discharge CD is less there. Those are not so much accurate. This venturimeter is actually very much accurate and very much costly. Orifice meter is less accurate and obviously it will be cheaper. Okay, so the orifice meter, you can write down the note. Orifice meter is least efficient with CD coefficient of discharge as 0.6 to 0.7. Okay, and these are cheaper. Another discharge measuring instrument is flow nozzle, and this flow nozzle has CD as 0.7 to 0.85. Okay, you can see all this orifice meter and flow nozzle. You can get the details from the book of Modi and Seth. We will not discuss it because that is not very much important from GATE point of view. Okay, now next, as I told you, venturimeter is most efficient. At the same time, it is costly. So the CD, as I told you, here is 0.98. Okay, next the rotameter. Another device is rotameter. Okay, this rotameter can be used in vertical direction. If you want to measure the flow in vertical direction, the discharge in vertical direction, you can use this rotameter. This rotameter is used for measuring discharge in vertically upward direction. Okay. Now further, this equation which we have proved can be also proved as P1 by gamma plus Z1 minus P2 by gamma plus Z2. This is equal to H, which is also equal to X Sm by S minus 1. Okay. Sm, as we know, is a specific gravity of this mercury, and this is specific gravity of fluid. Okay, so this is another form for this venturimeter. Getting this? Okay, next is the free liquid jet. Okay, so we are having a jet which is at an angle theta from the horizontal, and it will travel up to a range of L length, and the highest height which it is achieving is H, as you can see here. Okay, here we have the minimum diameter of the jet, which is D minimum, and the maximum diameter we will have at the top, which is D maximum. Okay, so we have to determine the value of this L, H and so on. Okay, so here are certain assumptions. So let us first look into the assumptions. The very first assumption we are making is the air resistance here is neglected. We are not considering the air resistance here. First thing. Second thing, the acceleration due to gravity G is constant within the range of the jet. G is constant. Getting this? Okay, and the height attained here, this H, I will directly tell you the formula. This H is equal to V naught square sine square theta divided by 2G. This is the maximum height attained here. V naught square sine square theta divided by 2G. Okay. Now the L here, L by 2 is half of the range, and the formula for this L by 2 is V naught square sine 2 theta divided by 2G. Okay. V naught here is the initial velocity, initial jet velocity, the velocity with which the jet is leaving this nozzle. Okay. You can write it here. V naught is initial jet velocity, and the angle and the theta is the angle with which this jet is leaving. With horizontal. Okay, so from here you can get the value of this L, total range, which is equal to V naught square sine 2 theta divided by G. Okay, so you have the value of this H, which is V naught square sine square theta divided by 2G, and L is V naught square sine 2 theta divided by g. Okay. Now, the horizontal component of this velocity, the velocity here is V naught, the angle is theta. So, what will be the horizontal component of this velocity? This will be equal to V naught cos of theta. Okay. Now, if I want to determine the time of flight, up to what time this jet will be in air. So, for that what I will have to do is total distance travelled is L, and the velocity in this direction is V naught cos theta. So, total distance upon time total distance upon the speed with the velocity will give us the time of flight. Okay, so from here we can determine the time of flight. This is equal to range, total range, which is L divided by V naught cos of theta. Okay, so just put the value. L we have already determined as V naught square sine 2 theta divided by g. So this will be equal to V naught square sine 2 theta divided by g into velocity in this direction, velocity in horizontal direction is V naught cos theta. So divided by g into V naught cos of theta. Okay. So from here this one V naught will get cancelled out. Now further this sine 2 theta can be written as 2 sine theta cos theta divided by g into cos theta. Okay. So from here this time of flight t, this cos theta will get cancelled out, this will be 2 V naught sine theta divided by g. Okay. So this is the total time of flight. So you can note few things here. The very first thing, h we have seen is V naught square sine square theta by 2g. Okay. So in order to have the maximum height, what should be the angle of theta? So for this term to be maximum, this sine theta should be equal to 1. Okay, and sine theta is 1 at 90 degree, as we know, that means the theta should be equal to 90 degree. That means for maximum height, theta is equal to 90 degree. Okay, and this h maximum, and when theta is equal to 90 degree, h will be equal to V naught square divided by 2g. So h maximum will be equal to V naught square divided by 2g. Here we are neglecting air resistance, as I have told you. Okay. Now, if we are considering air resistance, then a coefficient of air resistance alpha will be multiplied here. Okay. So, this H max will also be equal to alpha into V naught square by 2g, where alpha is coefficient of resistance. Coefficient of resistance. Now, what does this mean? Coefficient of resistance, suppose if the air resistance is given as 10%, okay, so then alpha will be equal to 0.9. Because 10% is resistance, so the alpha will be equal to 0.9. Okay, so this is known as coefficient of resistance. So you can multiply this coefficient of resistance alpha in this V naught square by 2g. This will be maximum height with considering air resistance. Getting this or not? Okay. Now for maximum range, that means for L to be maximum. Now what is required for maximum range? What should be theta for here? So for this term to be maximum, sine 2 theta should be equal to 1. Okay, or sine 2 or 2 theta should be equal to 90 degree, or theta should be equal to 45 degree. Getting this? 2 theta is 90 degree, so theta should be equal to 45 degree. So this will be equal to, so this total L max will be equal to V naught square sine of 2 into 45 divided by g, or this will be equal to V naught square by g. This is maximum range, L maximum. Okay, maximum range occurs when theta is equal to 45 degree. Very important. Clear or not? Okay. Third thing, the diameter of jet, as I told you, is increasing from the point of jet to the maximum height. Here we have d minimum and here we have d maximum. Okay. So the diameter of jet is increasing and the maximum diameter we are getting at the top point at h. Okay. Next, Bernoulli's equation for free liquid jet. Okay. We will apply Bernoulli's equation at different points here. Okay. Now considering three different points here, the point here is suppose 0, here the point we have as 1, and here suppose the point we have is 2. Okay. So at all these points, obviously the total energy will be equal. Okay. So the Bernoulli's, we can apply Bernoulli's equation. So this will be equal to V naught square by 2g plus P naught square by gamma plus Z naught is equal to P1 square by gamma plus V1 square by 2G plus Z1 is equal to P2 square by gamma plus V2 square by 2G plus Z2 and so on. Okay, now at all these points the pressure is same, at all the points the pressure is same, which is equal to atmospheric pressure. Okay, so the pressure term can be cancelled from here. Okay, and finally you will get what? V naught square by 2G plus Z naught is equal to V1 square by 2G plus Z1 is equal to V2 square by 2G plus Z2 and so on. Getting this now? Okay, now how can you determine now the diameter of this jet? Okay, so what will be the diameter of the jet now? If you want to determine, suppose this d max you want to determine, or at any point you want to determine the diameter. So how can you determine? Okay, so if you have the velocities at two different points, you can use continuity equation to find diameter. Okay, if you have the velocity at one point, suppose at the entry point you have the velocity, you can get the velocity at any height. That means the value of this V1 you can determine at any height, first thing. Second thing, if you want to determine the diameter of jet at any point, so that continuity equation says A1 V1 is equal to A2 V2. Okay, or you can say pi by 4 d1 square into V1 is equal to pi by 4 d2 square into V2. That's it. You have the value of this V1 and V2. You have the value of one diameter that can be of this point only. Okay, you have the initial diameter of this jet. Okay, so you can determine the value of this d2 at any point. Getting this? Okay, so this is how we can determine different parameters for this free liquid jet. Okay, so now we will solve one question of this free liquid jet. The question says, what is discharged from a 50 mm diameter nozzle which is inclined at 30 degree above horizontal? If the jet strikes the ground at a horizontal distance of 3.6 meter and a vertical distance of 0.6 meter from nozzle, what is the rate of flow? Okay, so we are having a jet which is the initial diameter, the diameter of this opening is 50 mm, okay, and it is inclined at an angle of 30 degree. Okay, so this angle is 30 degree. Getting this? Okay, now horizontal distance here is 3.6 meter and vertical distance from the nozzle, this is 0.6 meter. Okay, that means 0.6 meter above the nozzle, this is getting dropped, this water. Okay, now we want to determine the total rate of flow, Q we have to determine. Okay, now the velocity, suppose here is V naught. Okay, so the x component of the velocity V naught x will be equal to V naught cos of theta. Okay, cos of 30 is 0.866, this will be 0.866 into V naught. Getting this? Now in y direction, or suppose in z direction, we are considering this as z. Suppose V naught z is equal to, here the velocity component is V naught sine of theta. Okay, sine of 30 is 1 by 2, 0.5 of V naught. Okay, now in x direction, the total distance travelled in x direction, suppose is x, total distance is equal to speed in this direction into time. Okay, speed, velocity in this direction is V naught cos of theta into t. Okay, or you can say this x is equal to 0.866 V naught into t. This is suppose equation number 1. Similarly, distance travelled in y direction. Now in y direction, an acceleration, that is the gravity force is also acting. Okay, gravitational acceleration is also acting. So for determining y, what we can do, or in z, you can say, so s is equal to what? Ut plus half at square. Okay, so here this z will be equal to ut, initial velocity, which is V naught sine of theta into t plus, and because this gravitational force is acting downwards, so this will be minus half of gt square. Okay, or you can say this z is equal to 0.5 V naught minus half gt square. Getting this? Okay, now in this two equation, equation number 1 and 2, we have the common term as t. Okay, so we can eliminate t from here. This t will be equal to x upon 0.866 of v naught, and we can put the value of this t here, and we will get the value of this v naught. Only one unknown will be there, that is v naught. So we can substitute this t from here, and we will get the value of this v naught. Okay, so on substituting, you can do it from yourself. I will just tell you the final result. So on substituting, you will get what? This v naught. What you have to do, I have told you, from here this t naught, sorry, from here this t will be equal to x upon 0.866 of v naught. Okay, so just put the value of this t here in this equation, and you will get just one unknown, which is v naught. So this v naught will be equal to x divided by 0.866 into g divided by 2 into 0.577x minus z whole power 1 by 2. Getting this? Okay, now we have the value of this v naught in terms of x and z. Now we have the value of x and z. This is 3.6 meter from in horizontal distance and 0.6 meter vertical distance. That means the x is given as 3.6 meter and z is given as 0.6 meter. So just put the value of x and z in this equation. You will get the value of v naught. So from here this v naught will be equal to 5.63 meter per second on putting x is equal to 3.6 meter and z is equal to 0.6 meter. This is v naught. Okay. Now how can we determine the q now? So q discharge is equal to what? A naught into v naught. Getting this? Okay. So this q a naught pi by 4 into d square or d naught square into v naught. Okay, so the value of this d, the diameter of the nozzle, is given as 50 mm. Okay, so this will be equal to pi by 4 into d square 0.05, 50 mm is 0.05 meter square into v naught is 5.63. So from here this q will be equal to 0.011 meter cube per second. Answer. Getting this? Okay, so this is how we can determine the discharge in this particular question. Clear or not?